Hey, I know week 9 in Germany didn't go the way we all had hoped, but if you're like me and you still got love for the Dolphins, show some love by liking this video. As the Dolphins enter the bye week, we've got a ton to get to, starting with some bye week changes I hope we'll see. So let's do it. Dolphins Today starts right now. All right, look, I know yesterday the sky was falling. The Dolphins can't beat a good team. We're 0-3 against teams with a winning record. Look, I said it. You probably felt it. I read the comments, but, let's pump the brakes a little bit here and reassess. Where is this Miami Dolphins team at entering the bye week now that week 9 in the National Football League is officially in the books? And if you look at the report card, through halfway through the season, I think we got to be pretty pleased with where this Miami Dolphins team is at. If you would have signed up for 6-3 entering the bye week in first place in the AFC East, I think my hands up, your hands up, I think we all would agree to that. Now, the offense, yes, statistically speaking, they're still first in many major categories. A lot of that from some outliers earlier in the season that really boost up those offensive statistics. But defensively, you got to like the progress in the last couple of games under first-year defensive coordinator Vic Fangio. Now, I know 25th in scoring defense isn't great, but they've moved all the way up to 11th in yards allowed in the National Football League, so not bad there. Progress being made on the defensive side of the football, but also offensively, perhaps a little bit of regression. So as it stands right now, you could probably define this Dolphins team as the team that can't win the big game, the team that can't beat good teams, 0-3 against teams with winning records and 6-0 against teams below 500. But again, take a snapshot of where we are right now entering the bye week, and let's start using the P word because the playoff picture is officially in form. And if the season ended right now, your Miami Dolphins would be the winners of the AFC East and, of course, in the playoffs at that number 4 seed. So, again, the sky's not falling. Well, maybe a little bit because there are some things to assess and some changes I want to see made during this bye week. I think first and foremost, I'm going to sound like old school football guy for a second. Run the football, right? Run the damn ball. But let's look at the production of this Dolphins offense at the beginning of the season. They were running the ball at will. And this is not a knock on Raheem Mostert or really the entire Dolphins offensive line. And it's not as simple as saying, well, we had Achane at the beginning of the season. Obviously, that is a big part of it. But look at the production in the first six games where the Dolphins got off to a 5-1 start, averaging 181 rush yards per game. And that was first in the NFL. They're no longer the top NFL rushing offense because the last 3 games they've really struggled, less than 100 yards per game with 80. And the fumbles lost. 3 fumbles lost in the first 6 games and 2 in the last 3 games. Obviously, the production in the last 3 games, especially on the ground, has diminished. So, I got to ask you, I have my theories, but what do you attribute to the lack of rushing production in the last 3 games? Let me know in the comments. Coming up, we're going to talk a little bit more about some adjustments I want to see made by the Dolphins during the bye week so that they can hit the ground running in the second part of the season. But first, I got to show some love to today's presenting sponsor, and that is Game Time, the only ticketing app you're going to need for a couple of different reasons. So let me just tell you about them. First and foremost, you can be guaranteed that you're going to get the lowest price possible, even with last-minute deals. In fact, they specialize in last-minute deals. So if you're a procrastinator like me and you wait to the last minute, with Game Time, you're rewarded for that. It's a crazy concept, I know. And forget everything you've thought you knew about procrastinating. Turns out procrastinating is actually a good thing when you're using the Game Time app, and it's great for not only just football games and sporting events, but great for concerts as well. I'm telling you, it's the one-stop shop for all your live events and the tickets to those live events. And as we always do, we got a special deal for you. $20 off your first purchase on the Game Time app when you use that promo code FINSCHAT. So take the stress out of buying tickets and download the Game Time app, create that account, and use promo code FINSCHAT for $20 off. And guess what? We always make it easy on you. We're going to make it so simple. We're going to put the link right in the description of today's video as well as the comments. So one more time, you download the Game Time app, you use the promo code FINSCHAT, and you got $20 off for your first purchase. You are welcome. Welcome very much. Now, some other bye week changes I want to see. Look, Tua was playing at an MVP level, and at the beginning of the season, I think you can attribute to that for his ability to distribute the ball. Now, I know what you're doing. He's not a game manager. He's got the arm strength. I agree. He didn't show it the last couple of games, but I'm not trying to indicate that Tua is a game manager, but more a distributor. When he gets the ball out quickly, that is when he's at his best. Take a look at some of these next-gen stats. Tua leads the league in expected points added per dropback. Now, that's an efficiency measurement. And again, this is over the course of all the 9 games. But lately, he has not been as efficient. We saw it against the Chiefs in Germany. Now, his average throw is getting out fast, 2.35 seconds after the snap. That's the fastest mark in the NFL. And I think you can attribute that to Mike McDaniel and Frank Smith's offensive system, as well as his air yards per attempt. It's not like he's just throwing screen passes every single play, but he's getting the ball out quickly into his playmakers' hands. And we know about those playmakers because while we're on the topic of next-gen stats, these are the NFL's top speeds in the season so far. Now, this isn't just, how fast can you run a 40-yard dash? No, this is clocked in actual game speed from NFL Next Generation Stats. Tyreek Hill was clocked at 22.01 miles per hour. Obviously, Achane, one of the fastest guys in the league. And, Raheem Mostert as well. So, I'm not knocking Tua. All I'm saying is he's at his best when he's getting the ball out quickly in an efficient manner and letting the playmakers do their thing. So, as we assess where we are right now in the bye week, do you think Tua can get back to playing at an MVP level? Let me know in the comments. Type Y for yes or N for no. Flip over to the defensive side of the ball with me because I think we can all agree there's a lot to be encouraged from this defense, especially as of late. You got to thank Jalen Ramsey. The impact that he brought to this defense has been incredible. There is no doubt about it. Let's take a look at this Dolphins defense. They are 11th in total defense on the season, and that's a metric that has continued to improve as the season has gone along. And now, 4 of their last 5 opponents, they've been able to hold under that 21-point mark, and you got to believe when this Dolphins offense gets back to its ways of scoring, you hold your opposition to less than 21 points per game, you're going to have a good chance to win. And they're tied for 4th with sacks in getting to the quarterback. Again, that's a metric to say how well this Dolphins defense is getting pressure on the quarterback. And they're also in the NFL lead with 65 quarterback hits. And I think we can attribute a lot of that to the improved play of Bradley Chubb. We talked a little bit about him earlier, but his production has continued to improve week after week. And he's becoming that impact player the Dolphins hoped he could be when they made that blockbuster trade for him last year. In fact, his 4 forced fumbles are tied for the most in the NFL. So he's wreaking havoc, and yes, he's changing the game. We saw how he changed that game against the Chiefs by forcing that fumble on Patrick Mahomes. So if the defense can continue that upward trend, I think we're going to like where this Dolphins team is headed after the bye. Lastly, and it kind of goes hand in hand with the defense, we want to generate more takeaways and eliminate some of those costly turnovers because you guys hear me week after week, football guy, you got to win the turnover battle. It's true, it's true, it's true. And right now, the Dolphins have not necessarily been in the upper echelon of teams taking care of the football combined with their inability to force turnovers. So as it stands right now, they're -4 in turnover differential. So what's that mean? Well, they've committed 13 turnovers while only forcing 9. So they've given the ball away on 8 interceptions and 5 fumbles and only forced 4 interceptions and 5 fumbles. That's where you get the -4 in turnover differential. Now, I'm not saying it's the most important metric, but obviously there's some value there if you're able to improve that metric after the bye week. So whether it's forced fumble drills, whether it's turnover circuits, or taking care of the ball on the offense, that all works together to improve that component of the game, taking care of the football. So yes, -4 in turnover differential, not a recipe for success. And let's close it out with my final point of a bye week change I want to see, and that is finding that viable third receiving option for Tua Tagovailoa. So I'm not going to nerd out on anybody, but there's a couple of plays you can look back on in recent weeks where the defense is able to take away Tyreek Hill, take away Jaylen Waddle. Then what? Tua's looking to these 3 guys to be that viable third option, and we've seen signs from Cedrick Wilson Jr. a little bit. Durham Smythe, I don't want to knock him. He's been great, especially as a block-first tight end. And lastly, you made the trade for Chase Claypool. Can he be a guy that steps up? He proved it his rookie year with the Steelers, 9 touchdowns his rookie year, but his career has just declined year after year after year. The Dolphins took a flyer on him, so perhaps he can be that third option for Tua Tagovailoa. But I ask you, let me know in the comments. Put your prediction hat on for a second here. You think it'll be Cedrick Wilson? If so, type CW. Maybe Durham Smythe gets a more impactful role as the tight end, especially in the receiving game, or if it's Chase Claypool and the trade that the Dolphins made, sending their 6th-round pick over to Chicago in exchange for Claypool and the 7th-round pick. So let me know in the comments. Real simple, CW for Cedrick Wilson, DS for Durham Smythe, and CP for Chase Claypool. I feel like Cedrick Wilson is this close. We all know what play I'm going to refer to. That 3rd down in the final drive of the game in Chiefs territory, and a lot was made. Was it poorly underthrown by Tua? Did Cedrick run the wrong route? Was it a miscommunication? That's all in the past. Put it in the rearview mirror. What I'm going to focus on is how Cedrick Wilson created separation from the opposition in that game against Kansas City. You know he had the touchdown, and there were a couple other plays where he was open. So if Cedrick Wilson can continue on that trend of being that viable third option, I think this offense kicks it into the next year and becomes even more deadly, even more lethal after the bye week, and that is what I'm hoping to see. I want to thank everybody for tuning in, and if you made it this far, show some love. Smash that like button. We would appreciate here at Dolphins Today by Chat Sports. We'll have more Dolphins content for you all week. And I know it's the bye week, but keep those notifications on because we're bringing you daily Dolphins content as well as our live show tomorrow and maybe even a little Devon Achane update for you coming up soon as well. So thanks for tuning in. Always a pleasure to be on the air with you. I'm your host, Riepma on Dolphins Today, and we'll see you next time. See ya.